Hello? 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 Alright. Sorry guys, I'm just trying a new system, so I didn't know if it was working or not. So I do apologize. I'm in a different streaming service today, so hopefully this will work. We shall see. Oh, you know what? Hold on 1 second. Snowball trying to get out again. Oh, right. So, thanks for joining. I am going live on a different platform just to see how this works out. I use up all my free time on yard stream, so now I'm going to try and restream and see how that goes. So far, it's a little bit slower than yard stream, so we'll see. I might just go live on YouTube for a little bit just to see how that goes. Anyways, so again, my name is Mia, and I am here to review KnotsLanding episodes 14 through 18. Well, yeah, 14 through 18, and we're just gonna go very quickly through them. I don't have a lot of notes. I do have quite a bit of clips that I'm gonna play throughout the episodes. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe to the YouTube things. And also, link in the description box below is going to be the We're Not Done Yet podcast, the CG Circle channel, and this new podcast I found. I want to say No Escape or something like that, but they also review KnotsLanding, so you can go ahead and get their podcast wherever podcasts are streaming. So, but I'm going to link their YouTube channel down below. Let me get the name of that real quick. Hold on 1 second. I want to make sure I can use the right name. And it is going to be the No Escaping the Cul-de-Sac. That's it. Okay. So the channel is called No Escaping the Cul-de-Sac. That's another podcast that reviews KnotsLanding. I believe they are on season 3. So I might catch up to them shortly because I think they're almost done with season 3, and I'm just getting almost done with season 2. So we shall see how it goes. Hi, co-host in the background. Do I sound okay? Is it coming through okay? Because I'm on a different streaming service today. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So the first episode that we're going to do is Moments of Truth. Now, this episode, there's not a lot of couple interaction. It's the ladies and the guys, and we'll get into it. So we open up at Val's house with the ladies having a baby shower for Ginger. Karen proposes a toast while they have dinner, and then they just kind of discuss about what having a baby is like, and Diana is there, so Karen is trying to keep it a little bit PG because of Diana. Then we see that Richard is hitting on someone at the bar. The guys are out celebrating, getting to spend some time together while the ladies are having their little party. and Sergey and Kenny are out spending time together. He feels like he is visiting Ginger because he hasn't moved back in yet, so their relationship is not like how it was with the marriage. And then Ginger is opening gifts, and Val comes in with a cake. And then someone knocks at the door, and then 3 people come and a robbery is in progress. Diana left the ladies and went into the kitchen to get dessert plates. Hold on 1 second. Just bear with me. No, every once in a while you have to get cast. Oh. Okay. Alright, hold on 1 second. I'm gonna type you something. Okay. Okay. So the people break in, they try to do a robbery, and then the ladies are on the floor, all in a row. Diana sneaks out to go get help. And then the guys are playing pool. Richard wants to leave, but Richard wants to say, but the guys wanted to leave. The next scene, okay. Let's see. And then the next scene, we see that the police show up. And now it's like a hostage situation because Diana went to call the cops and they pull up. So it becomes a hostage situation and the news is already out there. The guy pulls up and Diana tells Sid what's going on, and then Sid tells Diana that she needs to go to her friend's house just to kind of go away from the situation so that they are not so that she doesn't get caught up in all of this. The ladies are sitting in front of the couch trying to decide what to do. The woman of the group takes Ginger out as to let them know that they want a van and that she's going to need a doctor soon. Okay. And they said that they'll get a van to her. However, we know that that's not going to always go as planned. Then the next thing that the guys are working with the cops out the Uber's house to help get the ladies out. The lieutenant goes to talk to him. They go back inside. Kenny wants them to do something. The bad guys tell them that Ginger might lose the baby and wants a car to get the ladies out. Ginger is on the couch in pain. Abby is sitting on the mill, and Karen is talking to the lady. And the lady tells Karen to sit down and shut up. The guys are talking about what they are doing. Gary's upset. Ginger had to go to the bathroom, so she made a noise. Abby and Laura are fighting about what happened with Richard and what she's doing now to try and get them out of the situation. So they're just fighting about that. Next, we see that Kenny and Sid are talking about bringing a baby in the world, and Kenny is not sure if he wants to do that right now because of what's currently going on. So he's just basically saying that the world has become like a bad place and that he's not sure if it's a good time to bring a baby in the world. Which I think is a constant question that, parents who are in the process of having a baby. I don't think there's a generation that I haven't heard saying the exact same thing. So again, this episode is still relevant to today's society. Um, uh, oh, when they get the lady's story, Karen takes off her wedding ring and puts it in her mouth, so she's hiding it. However, when she gets knocked down, like in this picture, they find the ring and they find her wedding ring and they take it from her. The cops are still outside, and the press comes in and starts to talk to Kenny. However, a fight breaks out with Gary and the media guy. Um, Karen tells the lady about all the people that is going to be hurt based on what they're doing right now with all the kids and the baby on the way and all that good stuff. And the lady doesn't care about them. Next, we see that Richard goes up to his room and lays out Laura's nightgown. Gary and Sid are playing cards, and they are all talking about what the SWAT's gonna do. Because at this time, the SWAT team pulled up. The ladies are talking about what to do because they're saying that they need to take over the situation, and they're like, there's only two of them, and there's like what, four or five of us that can take them on. Well, really, let's see, Karen, Laura, Val, and Abby. So there's four of them. Ginger can't really do anything because she's still on the couch and things. And so Ginger's not feeling well. Sid and Richard fight. However, they see the SWAT team go in to get the ladies out. Abby and Karen have a heart-to-heart. Karen and Laura watch as Abby goes to try to get disarm one of the guys. The cops are still trying to get in. It's been about 7 hours since the ladies have been taken hostage. The guy figures out what Abby is doing. They get into it. Abby pulls the fire extinguisher and sprays him. And the cops end up breaking in, and Val fights the lady. And the cops come in to break it up, and everyone just drops and falls to the ground. And then all the suspects are in custody and are taken down to the police station. The guys run after their ladies, and then Val tells Kenny that Ginger and the baby will be fine. And Abby doesn't have anyone to go home to, so she sees Karen and Sid leave, she sees Laura and Richard leave, and she sees Gary and Val leave. So Abby doesn't really have anyone to go home to. So I think that's, her thing to recognize and to, say, hey, I don't have anyone to go home to. What am I doing amongst all these couples, So that is actually episode 14. Like I said, this one was kind of a one-off because Jess and Ginger is pregnant, but there's not really a lot to play into as far as, I think the ladies were smart in handling the situation. I think they were a lot stronger than what the guys were. The guys were scared because obviously their wives were in danger, and then also for Sid, Abby was in danger. So therefore, I think that they were scared. They weren't as strong as the ladies. I think that women can be very resourceful, especially if you have like a whole group of women, and they can just come up with ideas and try to get out of the situations. I just think that, that they really banded together, and it's just, it's kind of like, the early Real Housewives of KnotsLanding almost, I just kind of think it's kind of like that because, they can fight, not get along, but when push comes to shove, they'll both stand for what they all believe in. And at that moment, they all believed in keeping themselves safe. Because I think out of all the women, Abby's the one that's going to have the most trouble with every single one of the ladies in one way or another. I mean, she's already had it with Laura, and she's working on having it with Karen. So, that her and Karen are sister-in-laws, they're still gonna have beef, and there's no way around it. So I think there's that. So I don't think there's a lot to. I think the guys' friendships were solidified in this episode as well, because you think about it, guys need to bond just as much as women, and I think that the show really did show that throughout the seasons and the different obstacles that they had. And again, I think that Abby is going to have issues. Abby is going to have issues with all the ladies. So yeah. So there's that episode. Let me play you a clip or two from from this episode. Now, co-host in the background, tell me if you can hear this or not, because like I said, I'm on another streaming service. I just want to make sure. So we are going to episode 14. Okay, here we go. And this is in accordance with YouTube's fair use policy. Oh wait, hold on, I gotta turn it up. Sorry. Oops, hold on. I gotta go back and see. So this is where Karen gets up and tries to touch the lady again. And again, this is in accordance with YouTube's fair use policy.
Whatever it is, save it. That woman, Ginger, she's going to lose her baby. She's young. She can have another. Why don't you let her go? What does one less hostage mean? It means those cops could just sit out there and wait. For days, maybe. That lady and her baby are a reason for them to do something. Now. I just can't wait much longer. Maybe you talk more than those cops outside. Make about as much sense. And you just go and sit down with your friends. Be very, very quiet. If you can't shut yourself up, I'll do it for you.
So in this scene, Karen is trying to reason with the female robber, and I think that we learn in the end that that this robber, this lady, has a lot going on in her life, and that she's just needing to deal with that. She's been through a lot. I'm trying to go to the other scene where they talk. Okay, here we go. And again, this is in accordance with YouTube's fair use policy. This is a sweet moment between Abby and Karen. Abby is rubbing, massaging Karen's shoulders. This is after she fell down. Karen goes back up to talk to her.
Thank you. What are you talking about? For stopping him. Look, I don't know anything about you. But we all have kids and husbands. I've got 3 kids, and Abby has 2. Val and Laura each have 1. And this is gonna be Ginger's first. Why are you telling me this? Because I want you to know how many people are going to be affected by what happens here. And that's supposed to matter to me. I hope so. What doesn't? It makes me a little sick. Husbands, kids, decent house, nice car. Great American dream, right? People like you. Rich, pretty, privileged people. You buy what you want. Like me, we never could. harder every day. Robbing people and threatening their lives, how does that make it better or easier? Hey, don't you understand? There's a war going on between the haves and the have-nots. People like you, people like me. It's just beginning. It's gonna get a whole lot worse. No, lady, I don't care about you. I already got enough to worry about.
So there again, you can kind of see like where that lady's coming from, to where like she didn't have a lot in her life, so she had to resort to a life of crime, and so therefore she decided to come up. They decided to come up to a house. They didn't know what they were going to get into when they arrived. They didn't know them from Eve to rob them or to break in. I think that they didn't count on having a whole bunch of women there, let alone one that's pregnant, to be at the house when they happened upon it. Because I don't think all their cars were there either. I think, because they all lived in the same cul-de-sac, that they just all walked over. So I think that the robbers just thought it could be easy cruising in and out. But since they found a lot of women there and the cops pulled up when they did, that just kind of changed the situation quite a bit. So there's really not a lot to analyze. Again, like I said, it's almost like when women get together and they're in a crisis, they band together and they try to figure this out. I mean, we've seen this in a lot of different shows. There was one, if you've ever heard of it, called It's a Living. I think it's in the first season where the ladies are at a slumber party. One lady ends up having people over because she's a robber in the neighborhood, and one of the ladies doesn't want to stay by herself because her husband and her kids are out of town. So then she invites one lady over, and then the other two ladies invite themselves over, and then the final lady comes over, and then the robber does come to their house. However, they did band together, and they were able to overcome the robber in the house that they were in. So I think that this is an age-old type of episode to show that women can come together and be there for one another when times are tough. And I think that the lady robber just had a lot going on and just didn't want to talk to Karen, didn't want to get herself out of the mess that she was in, despite how much trouble she was going to get into. And we're going to see that. I'm lucky to live where I live. I love Tennessee, but I am lucky to where I live, and I can see, a courtroom on a daily basis of a judge who cares about not just getting the law right, but who actually cares about every defendant that comes across in his courtroom. And as long as they're respectful, he will work with them to make sure that they always gets a fair trial, but he'll work with them, and he always says, he'll always tell the young people, make sure that you get through this and, go to school, and that can condition of your bond or your plea. So he the people that come before him, and so I'm able to watch that, on a daily basis whenever his court is in session, and then make the live streams available to watch. And you don't find that nowadays. A lot of times you just find judges that just want to throw the book at defendants no matter what. But this judge, she does care about everybody in his courtroom. So there's that episode. And again, like I said, this one is a one-off. It has nothing to do about nothing except for the fact that Ginger is pregnant, still pregnant, and that they just had a baby shower. So that's it. That's all for that episode. Co-host in the background, do you have anything to add? You just kind of, my hair is a mess, and I'm just trying to, I got a headache, so I had to take it down, and it was all knotted, so. Um, so next we are at, and I think this one is going to be another one-off, so that's kind of why I'm not really that bummed that I had to do that I did 5 episodes today, because they're pretty much all one-offs, except for after this one, I think. So this is episode 15, and this is Man of the Hour. So this episode, well, no, I should take back. This is a one-off, but it's not, and I'll explain why in a little bit. So this is Man of the Hour, and we open with Olivia playing with her friend Amy. Ginger comes home, and her sister Cindy, which is a different sister than Jill that came to see her in the first season, and Eric and his friend are at Ginger's house listening to loud music. Eric's friend leaves, however, he gives Eric something to put in his pocket and to bring later at the party. Next, we are at Val and Gary's. Next, Val and Gary are at the fair gates, and Diana is going out. Michael is running around the house and eating again, and then he goes upstairs. Michael runs into Eric and throws food on his coat, and Karen tells Michael to go get, something to clean up the mess. He comes back, and then Karen cleans it up. Eric changes his jacket, and Karen goes through the pockets to get anything out of the pockets that before it goes to the cleaners, and then she finds something. She finds one of the things that Eric had in his pocket, and she goes, "Uh-oh," and looks at Karen. I looked at Val, Gary, and Sid and Diana. Next, we see that Olivia and Brian are going to their father's, and Jeff tells the kids to get extra items for their weekend. So this is kind of like where the stories are going to start intertwining a bit more. And Abby is concerned about this comment because she's not sure what Jeff has planned. And then we see that Karen is going through Eric's jacket, find something, and then next we're at the party and Eric is nervous. Eric goes into his pocket and realizes that one of his items was left behind. Diana says that Karen shouldn't have gone through Eric's pocket. However, Karen's like, well, this is what I do anytime that they go to the dry cleaners. Sid and Karen start to fight about it. Next, we're back at the party, and this is where Eric realizes that he left one of the items at home, and now he's even more nervous. And Eric is feeling pressured to do something he doesn't want to do. Next, we see Ginger's sister is doing it, however, doesn't realize that it's not, that the item is not a waste. Diana tells Sid and Karen that she has experimented, and Sid yells at her. Gary tries to talk to them about, what it is to experiment, and then how it can lead to other things, and then however Val just decides that it's time to go. So Gary and Val leave. Sid doesn't want Diana to leave, and he wants to talk about what's going on. However, Diana does leave, and Sid doesn't say goodbye to her. Next, we see that Ginger's sister is not feeling well, and then we see Abby is off to her day. She still is concerned, so she calls Jeff with no answer. Sid and Karen are still fighting about Eric. Karen sticks up. Karen sticks up for Eric, and then that's when we realize that they put something in the item. Ginger's sister runs off. Eric goes after her. So she's the only one at the party that leaves to go after Cindy and tells him to call his parents. And they're like, no parents, no parents. And he's like, call my parents. You need to call them. So then there's a girl that calls the parent, calls sitting Karen, and the whole party breaks up. Um, Sid tells, so as Sid and Karen are leaving, they stop and tell Karen, Kenny, and Ginger to get in the car and go with them. They go to the beach. Eric runs after Cindy. Karen and Sid, Kenny, and Ginger go after them. They find Eric doing CPR. Then we are at the hospital. Ginger fears the worst. However, the doctor does come up and tells them that Cindy is in coma, but they don't know what the damage, if it any, has been done. And then Ginger and Kenny stay, and it said that Eric saved her life because if he hadn't done CPR, then there would have been no hope. And then next we're at the Fairgate's house. Karen goes to talk to Eric about what happened. Eric is taking it so hard, and Eric tells her that he does not remember what happened. And then Sid does not say anything to Eric about what happened. Sid and Karen are still fighting, and Sid tells Karen that he feels betrayed by Eric. And that is the next morning. Next, we see Abby tries to call Jeff again, no answer, and she is worried. Then Abby calls Jeff's mother, and his mother won't help her at this time. Karen goes out, who just got back from the hospital, and they talk about what's been going on. And Karen tells Al that she's scared about the relationship between Sid and Eric and how it's never going to be the same again. Next, we see that Diana goes to talk to Eric about what happened. Diana tells him to stick up for himself and tell everyone, hey, it wasn't mine. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do that because they're not going to believe me. Eric is upset about Sid not talking to him. And he said, it wouldn't hurt as much if I didn't know that my dad didn't love me. So he is hurt. Abby goes to talk to Richard about Jeff possibly kidnapping the kids. Richard said that there's nothing she can do unless he does not bring them home the next day. Next, we see that Ginger's mother comes over to meet Eric, however, makes him feel worse and tells him, if she lives, they're going to be the man of the hour. But what happens if she doesn't? And talks about when her husband had passed away. Eric believes that it is his fault. Sid and Karen are fighting about it still, and they talk about Eric. Karen tells Sid he needs to talk to Eric, and Sid is clueless and wants to be angry, and he wants Eric to feel guilty for allowing the truth. Cindy wakes up with Ginger looking at her. Kenny calls Karen and tells her about it. Cindy. Karen wants to tell Eric, even though that Sid doesn't want to go. Jeff does bring the kids home, and they fight. And Abby kicks him out. Karen, Sid, and Diana are playing games. Kenny comes over and talks about what really happened and the fact that Cindy did tell her mother and everyone else that the items were not Eric's. And then the end of the episode, of course, Sid and Eric make up. So again, this is kind of a one-off. I mean, this is starting to get into the kidnapping storyline with Jeff and his kids. However, I think that this is a really good episode at the time, because again, we're in the early 80s, I think 1981, which is the year that I was born, by the way. And they're talking about, you know, not knowing what certain items are laced with and how people need to be careful and not do things that they don't know what's in them. So while I think that Sid is clueless and he should have handled the Eric situation a little bit more differently, I think that in some aspects he is correct with his concerns. And, we did learn that the item that Cindy did take, it wasn't what she thought it was, and she ended up having some issues. So, but it wasn't all of them. It was just the one that Cindy took. Like the other item was fine, and then I'm guessing that they got rid of the item that was in Eric's coat. They didn't really show that. They just kind of left it up to interpretation. So that's what I think on that. Um, so there's not really a lot there. Again, I'm worried about Abby. Because we don't, I know what happens, but we don't know what happens with Jeff and the kids moving forward. But I am worried about Abby and what is going on in that situation, with the fact that, Abby's mom gut is like going off and like, what is happening? Why am I getting this uneasy feeling about Jeff? How come? The signs are all there, and we'll see that in the next couple of episodes. I think that we didn't see a lot of. I don't think we saw Kenny and Ginger at all in this episode. We saw a little bit of Val and Gary at the fair gates, but we really didn't see them in the episode. We barely saw Laura and Richard, so this was very fair gate heavy, and by that I mean Sid and Karen and Abby and their kids and what was going. Well, no, I take that back. We did see Ginger and Kenny, duh, but they weren't by themselves. They were mostly with Cindy or Sid and Karen or whatever. So they didn't know that Cindy was a huge part of the episode. Ginger and Kenny were not. So all I can say is that Kenny was supportive of the whole situation with both Ginger and Eric and the fair gates, but we didn't really see them interact as a couple really in this episode. And again, with Laura and Richard, we didn't really see them interact at all. And then it's just, again, with me, and I'm just gonna say it, it's the way that Sid and Karen fight are different than the way that Mac and Karen fight. And I think that it is because of Sid's ideals. It is because of his police belief systems. And, the fact that we did learn in previous episodes that Karen is 7 years younger than Sid. So that does make a difference. 7 years is 7 years. And so therefore I think that does make a difference in their ideals and what they believe. And it does make sense why Diana is where that Diana is. And, Sid did make a point, that as a woman, you carry the babies in there and inside of you for 9 months, and then they come out, and then all that the dad wanted to do was protect them and roll the boat. And he said, and then when you look over, and the one that's one of your own is making a hole in the boat, and your guys are just sinking. And I get that, but you have to look at yourself as well and be like, okay, do I trust my son 100% in this situation? He's never given me any pause to not trust him. So why am I just jumping the gun, so it just doesn't. And again, the storyline is kind of recycled in later episodes with Michael. Hey, that kind of rhymes. With Michael, and we'll see that between Michael and Olivia, but it's kind of like, okay, do I trust my son about this? Has he given me any reason for? I think that Sid is kind of clueless in this episode by not trusting his kids, and then the fact that he learned that Diana had experimented, I think that kind of just broke with her. And let's just talk about Diana for a minute. It just seems like just yesterday she was what, 12, 13, 14 years old, and now what, next season she's going to be done in high school, or is that season 4? So that's kind of, but it's not mentioned how old she really is in these episodes after season 1. So I think that they're doing that so that they can age her up a little bit more and more each episode and each season, because how in season 5 and season 6 is she old enough to be in a serious relationship with Chip? This doesn't make any sense to me, but that's just me. The wonderful world of children. You never know what you're going to get. That's just me. So, co-host in the background, do you have anything to add on this one? I'm going to go ahead and play. And again, I'm just going to kind of stop since it's after 2 episodes. Don't forget to do the YouTube thing, to like, subscribe, share, comment. I have the podcast link down below. And then also for We're Not Done Yet, the Suzu Circle, and I'm going to link the No Escape from the Cul-de-Sac as well, because I did find them on the Facebook group. So we'll just hold on. So I will link them on the Facebook group, and then we'll just go from there. So let's see. Alright, so this is in accordance with YouTube's fair use policy. Oh wait, hold on. Let me go back to my other episodes. Hold on. Okay, let's try this again. This is in accordance with YouTube's fair use policy. Now, I kind of had a hard time finding scenes from these episodes just because, at least, especially for this episode, because I didn't want certain words mentioned on my YouTube channel because I don't want to get it flagged. So that's why. So again, this is in accordance with YouTube's fair use policy.
Whatever happened to let the punishment fit the crime?
What?
You've been proselytizing so much, but I haven't heard that from you.
Sharon.
Don't patronize me, Sid. Our son is suffering. He needs us to help him through this, and we're not there for him. This is a crisis. Something that could scar him for the rest of his life.
So she's not wrong there. I mean, just imagine that your son, who's not even an adult yet, was seen doing CPR on a girl that, and he was the only one there. I mean, no one else ran after them. So the fact that Eric did, and he's always been more like Karen the moral compass. So I don't see why Sid didn't believe him in the beginning, because he is like Karen. He is the moral compass. He doesn't have any reason not to be trusted. And again, this is in accordance with YouTube's fair use policy. I'm going to turn this up just a little bit.
And his life matters to us. I tried to tell him that just now, but he didn't want to hear it from me. Because he needs to hear it from you, because you're the one who passed judgment on him. Well, enough's enough. To hell with the law. To hell with moral responsibility. To hell with your simple view of right and wrong. To hell with everything except what's going on inside that young boy. Our son. Tell him.
No.
No. What's the matter with you? You're going too far. I don't understand.
And again, I think this is a little bit of Michelle coming out and not Karen. I think that she's just having a hard time with this, seeing the fact that, you know, Michelle really loved these kids as her own. I mean, heck, she spent almost 14 years with them all. So I think that, you know, she just wanted to be there for them and to help take care of them. And when she sees that one of them is hurting, whether it's on screen or off screen, it breaks her heart. So again, I think this is kind of Michelle coming as opposed to Karen, but I could be wrong. But I can kind of tell with her voice. It's usually when she cries and when she laughs and smiles. And when I can tell her voice changes and it's almost like Michelle coming out as opposed to Karen. But that's just me. And again, this is in accordance with YouTube service policy.
Pa, that little girl has been in a coma for 36 hours now.
And for 36 hours, your son has been suffering.
Is that so bad? When you take part in a tragedy, shouldn't you suffer for it? Isn't that the way we learn from our mistakes, by suffering for them?
But where do you draw the line? What if she dies? What if she stays in a coma?
Then I'll stand in any way I can. And no matter what happens, I'll let him know that I love him.
But what about now? He needs us now.
For now, just let him feel what he feels and let me feel what I feel. Let me be angry and let him feel guilty.
I don't agree with that. I think that no matter what, if you love your kids unconditionally, that you should always be there for them no matter what. Alright, so I'm gonna play this scene as the very last scene of the episode. So again, this is in accordance with YouTube series policy. Go back to Salvador.
I got 2 5s in here. Is that good?
No, you gotta shake it. Oh, get it.
Okay.
Oh, law. Oh, hi, Kenny.
Hi. Hey. Hi.
How is she?
Physically, she's 100%. The other ways, and take time. But listen, my mother-in-law told me about last night, and she wanted me to tell you that I had it coming. No, that's not what she told me. Cindy told us that Jamie gave you the grass to hide, and that it really wasn't your fault at all. So I guess Eric's a hero after all.
No, he isn't.
So right there, that's when Seth realizes that, I made a mistake. And again, this is a little bit of where Michelle comes out again. And you can tell that's Michelle being Michelle and not Karen being not Karen. Again, this is an accordance with YouTube series policy.
Eric didn't become a hero that night. He became a mature human being, which is a lot more rare because he took the responsibility. I think maybe I am too tolerant sometimes. I like to see all sides of things.
Yeah, well, my mother-in-law goes the other way, and that's worse. She's got rules and regulations, and those rules become a prison. That's why Jill and Cindy want to come and visit us so much, because they have to escape. They've got to get freedom. And I guess they just get so tied up that when they do break away, it gets out of hand.
There's got to be a balance somewhere.
There is. We have it right here.
You hungry?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm starving.
Okay. Let's go to the kitchen.
And you can't see this, but this is where Eric and Sid make up. Eric hugs Sid, Sid hugs Eric, and that's the end of the episode. Again, so that was kind of sweet, and I like the fact that Diana did say we do have a balance, and so therefore I think that she's the meaning between Karen and said that that is that good balance right there. So again, this episode kind of sort of a one-off, kind of sort of not, because now, let's see, I think that this one, okay. Alright, so this episode is very Laura Richard heavy, Val and Gary heavy, a little bit of Sid and Karen. I don't see anything in here about Ginger and Kenny. So it's almost like either there's usually like 3 main couple storylines, which is what I'm finding in each episode. And then if there's 3 couples, then one of them kind of sits out. So that's kind of what I'm seeing here, because I don't see anything about Kenny and Ginger. And then in the last episode, it was mostly the Fairgates and Abby. So we really didn't see a lot of anybody else. I mean, you saw Kenny and Ginger, but it was mostly with Cindy. So, anyway, so anything to add, co-host in the background? Am I good? Hi to the second person who's watching. I don't know who you are because you don't comment. so if you have anything to add, please do so. This is why I do this live. I just want to make sure that as I'm talking, I want to get feedback, because I just don't want to do pre-recorded videos. I don't think that those are fun. I want to interact with y'all. Okay. So then the next episode is More Than Friends. So this episode deals with cheating. This episode is all about cheating and having affairs. Will they, won't they, will they, won't they? So we open up with Val at her couch and walking to class with her friend. She goes into the classroom and her friend tells her that, the professor is out with the flu and that they're going to have the substitute. Val goes to, I wonder who it is. Wow, there's a little bit of dyslexia there. And Earl Trent walks in, and Val is nervous about this. So Val, and as we know, Val and Earl have some history. Earl was married to Judy. Judy's the one that had the affair with Gary. So, and then Earl, I know, right? Right? Co-host in the background, so this is going to be an interesting episode. So then Earl reads out Val's story, and it very critiques it quite a bit and makes Val uncomfortable. Next, we see that Karen goes to Laura's job looking for her. Laura and Scooter are talking about her job in his office, and then Karen asks a little bit about it, but doesn't make a big deal. And then I guess she was there to pick up a shopping list for Laura, because they're going to have dinner at her house. So it's going to be Laura, Richard, Scooter, his wife, and Karen and Ted. I keep wanting to say Shooter for Shooter Jennings, but it's Scooter. So my mouth is wanting to say Shooter, but the name is Scooter. Yeah. Okay. So Karen goes shopping, and then we're back at the school. Earl is not impressed with Val, and doesn't think that is believable characters. And Val gets up and leaves the class. Next, we see that Richard is serving wine at the dinner. Karen and Sid are there as well. Scooter, not Shooter, Scooter. Scooter and Richard are talking about investments. Next, we kind of see that Earl and is following Val around. She sees her at the library and kind of looking at her. Um, Scooter's wife goes in to talk to Richard about Scooter and Laura, and Scooter is very Laura, and his wife is telling Richard about her future. And then we're back in the dining room. Scooter proposes a toast. Next we see, Earl walks up to Val and asks how she is doing. Earl encourages her to become and asks how Gary is doing, and tells her that Judy had left him, and he is upset, and we'll get there. Val and Gary are at home, and Val asks her what is going on and what's the matter, because he can tell that there's something off with Val, and Val tells him that Earl stepped in for her teacher today, and she's uncomfortable with him. Val feels uneasy, and she tells Gary that Judy left him. And next we see that Laura and Richard are talking about the dinner and how great it was, and then she falls asleep as Richard is kissing her. Next we see that Karen goes to lunch with Val at the school. Earl comes up to join them and pays no attention to Karen. And Earl tries to make it up to Val about what happened when Scooter are working late, and Richard shows up to take Laura out to dinner. Next we see Abby and Gary are driving home, and Abby tries to flirt with him and asks him to go out sometime, just as platonic friends, and Gary is refusing. However, at the end of the scene, you'll see that Gary is kind of thinking about it, but he doesn't want to cross that line. And Sid and Karen are talking about Laura and Richard and how there's like a double standard because Karen is all for Laura having an affair with Abby. Val and Gary are at home, and Gary kind of pulls a Mac. And by that I mean Abby was hitting on him so that he goes home to Val. That's a Mac move. Just saying, that's a Mac move. Cause anytime that a woman hit on Mac, he always went home to Karen. And we'll see that in future episodes. So their phone rings at Gary and Val's, and Earl calls wanting to talk to Val, and he tells Val that he's at a bar and that he's thinking about drinking and wants Val to come and talk to him. Gary tells Val that Earl's her, and then Val said that Gary won't go to help Earl. And next we learn that Earl knows about Gary and Judy. Karen goes to talk to Laura about Scooter. Next we see that Earl and Val are talking about the night before. Earl was trying to talk to Val about what happened between Judy and Gary, and she told Earl that she learned about it after the fact. Earl asked Val over to his house to work on her story. Laura and Richard fight about Laura going out with Scooter without him, or instead of him. Val tells Gary that she's going to Earl's, and he is not happy. Gary kind of thinks that Earl is trying to use her because of what happened between him and Judy. Richard goes to Karen and Sis to talk about Laura and asks Sid if he felt uncomfortable if Karen goes out with male friends. And Sid kind of tells him, well, sure, at first, but then I realized after a while that, it is a good idea to have friends outside of the marriage, as long as those relationships don't interfere with the main relationship, as he put it. And I'm surprised that Richard. Hold on. I'm surprised that Richard is asking that because he and Karen are such good friends. So that just kind of felt kind of funny. Earl and Val are working on his story at his house. Laura and Scooter are out to dinner. Scooter knows about the rumors about he and Laura tells him how she feels and that she is working on her issues with Richard and that, she knows that Scooter is happily married, so she doesn't want to have an affair and to potentially wreck both of those situations. Earl tells Val that he wants to get even with Gary and he tries to go after her. Gary calls Earl looking for Val, but then they don't answer the phone. Earl doesn't want, no, and he tells her he wants to get even with them. Gary is worried about Val, and then Earl stops and cries, and Earl asks Val not to be mad at him, and Val says, I'm not mad at you, I understand. You need help, you need to find someone to help you, but we're not going to be the ones that can help you because of, what's, what's been happening. Gary shows up. Gary apologizes to Earl about losing him around the same time that Judy left, and that he had no right to have an affair with Judy like he did, and tells him that Earl can't blame him. Earl can't blame Gary for his continuing problems, that he's going to have to stop and realize that at some point he's responsible for what he puts himself through. And then Val and Gary leave. Richard and Laura are talking about. Richard asked Laura about if she wants to talk about what happened with Abby, and Laura says no. And Richard tells Laura that she is important to him, and Laura says, I just need to hear that so much. And Val tells Gary to forgive himself about the affair and whatever else has been going on. So that's that episode. Again, I was able to condense this pretty quickly. I'm surprised. But like I said, when we get to season 4, it's going to be a lot different. Sorry, I talked myself dry. So, let's talk about the couples. Again, no Kenny and Ginger. They're out. The only time that we see Sid and Karen is at Laura and Richard's for their dinner. And then also they're talking about Laura and Scooter and their kitchen and about how Karen is happy for Laura. And then we see Laura and Richard trying to work on their problems. However, they both know that there are some issues there that they need to work on. And I wonder how much of it is the Abby and Richard of it all, or right now if it's the Laura and Scooter of it all, or if it's just both. I think they need to get couples therapy, but as we all know, they're not gonna, they're not gonna go for, Richard's not gonna go for that. Richard is like, no, we're not gonna do couples therapy. She doesn't want that. And there will be a culmination of that coming up in future episodes. And then we see Val and Gary are working on their relationship. However, I think they brought Earl in to kind of tie up all the feelings that Val has had about the affair with Gary. So while Val was telling Gary that he needs to forgive himself, I think Val was actually saying to Gary, I forgive you. So I think that was a culmination of tying up that storyline of Gary cheating on Val with Judy. However, we shall see what happens in future seasons with Gary and his cheating because he not only cheats on Val, he cheats on Abby. So it just goes on and on and on. So I think that while Gary wants to be a faithful husband, I think he just has a hard time being faithful. And I'm almost wondering if that alcohol is being replaced by women and he just doesn't realize it, and that's the direction that storyline is going in. So, and I don't, so there's that. That's how I feel. How about, um, so again, Sid has blinders on to Abby, and the children love all the friends. Sid is clueless. Alright. Alright, so again, this episode is called More Than Friends, and these clips are in accordance with YouTube's fair use policy. And here we go. Let's see where we're at.
Kids.
Okay, hold on. I want to go back to. I want to see something here. Hold on.
This world.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
Can I join you?
Well, means anything with all these kids.
Okay, this is the first scene I'm.
So thank you for the lunch. Well, you're welcome. Doesn't it make you nervous going to school with all these kids? Yeah, to tell you the truth, makes me feel like an old lady. I wonder if Diana would like to go here. Well, you got the brochures. She can take a look at here. Yeah, that's fine. Good. Means anything at all. I mean, I really.
I said that Earl is following Val, and again, Earl is in the cafeteria where Val and Karen are having lunch. So he sees Val, and here we go. This is in accordance with YouTube's fair use policy.
Love it. Well, I'm afraid she's going to want to go out of town to school. I'm going to have to prepare myself for the empty nest syndrome. Well, I mean, it'd be kind of exciting. Here, take this napkin. Thank you. I mean, she'd be going away to school. Right. Well, I don't know. I miss her already.
Can I join you?
Would you like to join us? Earl, this is my neighbor, Karen. Good.
I picked up some material in the library. Short Flannery O'Connor and Eudora Welton, both Southern writers, and I think you should read them.
Okay.
Both of them write in the Southern idiom, and in a style somewhat like yours. And I think you learn from their structure.
Sure.
You have your own voice.
And again, this is almost like the scene that Karen had with Diana's teacher, where Diana's teacher came up while Val and Karen were having coffee after the PTA meeting, and the teacher was hitting on Karen. So now Val is having kind of the similar situation with Earl Trent here, where he is her substitute teacher and is paying no attention to Karen. So I think that that's where a shift in the storyline as well. So again, I think that the writers go back to previous storylines, figure out what they can pull, what works best, and then kind of go from there. And again, this is in accordance with YouTube's fair use policy. That's one thing that I didn't notice until now. So I'm glad that I rewatched some of these scenes with you guys, because then I can pick up more and stuff and talk about it, and then we can get back into it in accordance with YouTube's fair use policy.
Val. I want to help to cultivate that.
And she has such wonderful expressions.
Carson McCullers. That's another author you should read. I tried to find a book of hers, but there wasn't any in the library.
Yeah, but you don't really think that I can write now, do you?
No, not yet. Your stories begin in the beginning. A good story really begins in the middle, recalls the beginning, and then proceeds to the end.
That's very crazy, doesn't it?
I know, Bruce, but it works somehow. Why don't we get together again, and I'll go through your story with you, and I'll show you what I mean.
Yeah, maybe we could.
It's the least I can do for you, Val. After I treated you so bad.
How did you treat her?
So there's Karen becoming a protective mother, like, what did you do to my friend? Or my sister? Or the person I look to as a daughter? What did you do to her? Come on now. Again, I think Michelle came in a little bit with her voice. I think that was cute. Like, I'm protecting my friend. What did you do? So Karen's sticking up for Val because Val was like, oh, I don't feel very comfortable right now, but we'll see. No, this isn't Scooter. This is Earl Trent. And again, this is in accordance with YouTube series policy.
Pretty bad. I know, I guess I saw too many of those where Professor Kingsfield rides rough herd on his most promising student. Well, that's the way it works in the movies.
Bye. He's obviously crazy about me. Did he even know I was here?
Look, see, Gary and I knew him before he came to teach here, so that's why. Actually, he was married to the woman that I told you about.
What woman?
Judy?
Judy?
You know, the one that Gary.
Oh, that Judy. Do you know about her?
I don't think so. At least he's never mentioned it. He's always got that look behind his eyes.
Did you get a chance to finish that written offer?
I think that was a sweet moment between Val and Karen. Karen's always sticking up for Val. I just love it. Alright, let me sit there. Hold on, I'm just trying to.
It sounds like that shouldn't make any difference.
Alright, I want to play this scene.
No, it doesn't have
And
to.
again, this is in accordance with YouTube series policy.
I have heard of it. Just
Relax.
Alright, this is in accordance with YouTube series policy. This is fun. And, well, right now it's Abby and Gary in the car, but they're just gonna roll into Sid and Karen in their kitchen. And again, this is in accordance with YouTube series policy.
I'm only kidding.
that's your imagination, Karen.
Oh, yes? Well, I was right about Richard and Abby, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Well, I think Laura's giving Richard a dose of the same medicine.
You sound delighted. When it was Richard and Abby, you thought it was just terrible.
Well, Laura's taken a lot of abuse from Richard, and if someone tells her she's terrific,
I have heard of the double standard before, but that really takes the cake.
that is not double standard. That's what sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander.
Yeah, but when it was Abby...
Abby went after Richard like a seagull after a fish. Richard took the bait. Now Laura wants her share of the pie.
I think you've got your metaphors a little bit mixed.
Makes perfect sense to me.
So again, Sid has blinders on to Abby, and Karen's like, no. You're not going to play that game with me. Karen's like, no, I see what I see, and I know this will be the last thing I play, because then we'll jump into the last 2 episodes. And again, this is in accordance with YouTube series policy.
Hi. I thought you would have left. Laura, I'm out here. Hi. I thought you would have left already.
Well, my first appointment is not till 11 o'clock, so I thought I'd take it easy this morning.
Oh, that's good.
This is how we, salespersons of the month, do it.
Karen, would you like a cup of coffee?
Help yourself.
Thank you. Oh, your boss sure is,
Isn't he?
yeah, real attractive.
I know.
Must be nice working for him.
It is. Is he as nice to you as he appears? He
He is the greatest. Well, he's certainly looking after your best interest. Karen, are you getting at something? Who, me? No. Are you? Am I what? Are you trying to tell me something? No. Just not saying anything. About what? Anything. Karen, what is there to say? You've already said it all.
Guys, like, touche, more touche. And again, we're going to see a little bit of a rift between Laura and Karen in the upcoming episodes. I'm trying to think. I think there's another. Oh, you know what? I do want to play this scene because I think this is really a sweet scene between Sid and Richard, especially after the first season and the legal talk that they were in. So I do want to play this scene to kind of round out their friendship. And again, this is in accordance to YouTube series policy.
Hey, Richard, come on in.
Laura's working, so I just thought I'd see what you guys are up to.
Great. Can I buy you a drink?
Yeah. Brandy?
Yep. Karen's at a meeting, so I'm batching it myself.
What is it tonight? Abortion or baby seals?
Just toxic waste.
Huh. Thanks.
Right.
So for those of you that don't know, Karen in the episode is a very activist person. She does go to a lot of meetings to help out the community, and that's what Richard was referring to when he was asking what the cause was as to where Karen is at. So, and again, this is in accordance with YouTube series policy.
Cheers. Yeah. Sid, when Karen's on these crusades of hers, does she ever meet any guys?
Sure, lots of guys. Why?
Does it bother you?
In what way bother me?
Well, I mean, does she ever, have a drink with them after a meeting or something?
Oh, I see what you mean. Richard, you know, you've been married as long as Karen and I have. If you didn't have friends outside your relationship to fucked relationships with women, I mean, very often outside of romantic relationships. But Karen, she's always had a lot of male friends, you know, right from the time I met her. It really used to bug me. But then I came to realize one day that just because somebody you love has a relationship outside of the main relationship.
Okay, so Sid is not clueless here. He kind of gets it. He kind of rolled on me in this episode with this speech right here, where he's talking about how men and women can have relationships with opposite sex and not have it mean anything. However, when you're talking about with Jerry and Abby, and they're just talking about it, Jerry's like, no, I don't think that can happen. So again, this is like the whole common theme throughout this episode is about like whether or not women and men can have friendships outside of being married or having another relationship or another friendship. And again, this is in constitution series policy.
It doesn't take away anything from that main relationship unless they give to that other relationship this kind of intimate and personal and very private things that belong to the main relationship. You know what I mean?
No.
I never saw the strict.
So Richard is clueless in this thing because he's like, I don't understand what you're saying. So come on, I'm not as up to par on all this stuff. So there again, you know, you can see. I just wanted to play that scene for twofold. I wanted to, yes, exactly, a platonic relationship. I just wanted to show the how Sid and Richard have overcome their issues from season one, or or earlier in the season, which I think is kind of cruddy because of what's going to happen at the end of season 2, beginning of season 3. And we'll probably do 5 episodes at a time in season 3 because there are quite a bit of episodes in season 3, and I just kind of want to get through it. Number one, the first 3 episodes are going to be kind of hard for me, so I just kind of want to go through them, get them done, and then we'll just move on, try to get through season 3 so that we can start the new way that we're going to do this recapping, and then hopefully I can start going live every day and doing those recaps since it's only going to be 1 episode. So in this episode, this episode starts, I think, really starts the threading in between all episodes. So this episode starts with the Abby's children getting kidnapped, as we'll see that shortly with that coming up. And then also with the beginning of the end with Sid and the dealership. So, and at first, when I first watched this episode, I was like, okay, could JR have had something to do with what happened to Sid? And then now that I watch it back, I'm like, no, I think it was who they say it was because JR was after something of Sid's. So, with that being said, this episode is 17 and it's called Designs. We open with a view of the cul-de-sac. Val and Olivia are at Abby's house. Val is doing Olivia's hair and they're getting her, and Val's getting the kids ready to, and they're talking about how Jeff is taking them camping, and then Abby leaves for work with Sid or Gary or both. I'm not exactly sure. Oh no, Abby leaves with Gary to go to work. Val takes the kids to school. The next scene is that JR is at the dealership talking to Sid about his engine, and he wants to get in on it and make a lot of money off of it, patent it. So basically, he was trying to get himself into Sid's business. Gary and Val walk. Oh, I meant Gary and Ab, not Val. Wow. Gary and Ab walk up, and JR asks Abby to dinner because he invited Sid and Karen out to dinner. And Sid tells Gary about the engine deal that JR wants to do. And Gary's like, don't do that. Don't get involved with JR. Next we see that Kenny comes home and Ginger is resting on the couch after a long day of teaching. Kenny tells Ginger what she should be eating based on this book that he's read. Because guys always read books about pregnancy. And then Jeff shows, and then we're at Abby. Jeff shows up with a new van and takes the kids for a ride while Abby is trying to get ready for her to go out. And then we are at dinner with Sid, Karen, Abby, and Gerald patting Sid's engine. Sid tells JR is not ready yet. Karen asks if it's all of the patent, then basically tells what would be in it for JR. Because you're an oil man, so why would you want to be involved with an engine that is supposed to go against the oil? And she goes, well, money is money. I'm all for making a buck. So that's that. And then Abby looks at JR and asks him to call her a cab because she wants to go home. JR offers to take her home in his limousine. And then we see that Jeff is still at Abby's, and he tells Brian about his plan to take Brian and Olivia camping, and not to tell Olivia because um, Olivia will tell Abby about it. Um, Abby offers, so next we see that Abby and JR are in the limo, and Abby offers to duplicate the plans for JR and wants Gary in on the plans. Sid tells Gary that he is not going into business with JR, and then Karen comes to talk to Sid about the engine. Karen is looking. Oh, this is at the dealership. So while Sid is at lunch, Karen is looking for the plans but can't find them. Next, we see Abby come out of JR's limo holding like a tube, tube, like a, those design tubes where they put like plans, like if they're building a house or something. So it's in the tube, and then Abby asks Karen to pick up the kids, and then Abby returns the plans. Next, we see Karen and Val at the school to pick up the kids, but Jeff shows up and takes them home. And then Gary tells Val or Abby that he does not want to get sent into the business with JR. Karen calls Sid about the plans, and she is sure that they were not there. However, Sid says that, no, they're right here. So she's unaware that his plans were missing, and he thinks that Karen is nuts about it. And then Karen sees Abby and tells her that Jeff picked up the kids. Abby is getting an uneasy feeling about Jeff and tells him that he has to stop showing up. Next, we see that Sid and Gary are talking about getting the engine patent. Karen tells Sid to think about it. Karen is already showing her detective skills and how her intuition builds up as opposed, for these types of things. And we'll see that in later seasons as well. I think once we get past season 3, we'll see this again in later seasons. And um, hold on one second. Okay, beginning. And then Ginger is about to. Hold on, I'm trying to. Oh, Kenny is worried about Ginger taking care of her and the baby. Next to that, Olivia is working on her homework, and Sid comes over. Sid asks Abby about talking to Dara about the engine, and Abby is lying. Sid sees a tube, and it turns out to be a picture in it. However, she lied again because after he leaves, she pulled out the plans, put them in there, put the picture in there, and then left the plans out. So she lied again. Then Sid comes in mad at Karen and they fight. Next we see that Laura is giving Ginger clothes and talking about how Richard was whenever Laura was pregnant. And asking a bunch of questions. And then Richard says, no, what else was there to do? I was just kind of sitting by watching her go through this. I didn't make sure she was okay. Gary and Val are talking about the engine, and Val tells Gary to honor whatever Sid's decision is. Jeff pulls up to Abby, backs in, goes inside, and gets kids' items. So basically, He gets all their clothes, all their toys, everything, and loads them up in the van. Abby gives Gary the patent plans. Gary does not want to, but Abby tries to pressure him, and he tells her no. The kids come home, and Val and Karen show up concerned, and then Jeff and the kids take off. Val and Karen are concerned because they said that there's enough clothes in there to last them a year. And so then they go inside Abby's house, and it is just torn apart. Abby's house is destroyed. And then Val and Karen walk in. Karen calls the police, and then Karen tells Val to stay by the phone just in case Abby calls, and Karen goes to look for Abby. Kenny tells Ginger about eating what she wants now because she realizes that her body is just trying to, process whatever she's in. And then we see that Abby is at JR's hotel room, and then she gives him the plans, and then Abby gives JR a contract. JR hits on Abby, and then they sleep together. Surprise, surprise. And then Karen goes to the hotel to talk to Abby. However, they will not give her the information to JR's room. And then Karen tries to call on the house phone. Can't get through. Karen asks the bellboy, and she kind of bribes them with money to get the information. So she gets the information. She shows up looking for Abby. And Karen is trying to tell Abby about what happened. However, Abby does not believe her. And JR tries to stop the fighting. And Karen does her iconic move. And Karen tells him to shut up with her finger, like she did with Eric at Abby's ranch when Diana ran away. And I just put down, Karen has his number, like, I know what you're doing. So, again, while we did see a little bit of Richard and Moore, we did not really see a lot other than them being supportive of Ginger and the baby. We really didn't see a lot of Ginger other than Kenny trying to make sure that Ginger was eating correctly, and then near the end realizing that it's okay if Ginger eats whatever she wants. Then we see, this is very said Karen, Abby, Heavy, and JR Heavy, just because, and Val and Gary, just because of the storyline. So I think my problem with Sid, this is my problem with Sid, is that Sid doesn't trust Karen's intuition. And that bothers me because they always say that a woman's intuition is mostly sometimes 65 to 95% right. So Sid doesn't trust her intuition, and then however she does always end up being right about things. So again, she doesn't know what happened to the plans, but she does know that Abby had something to do with it and saw that Abby was getting out of JR's car, and then she ended up finding Abby at JR's hotel room. So I could say that Karen's instincts were 100% on the nose. So I think that's a lot of Sid and Karen's problems to where he doesn't trust her. And with Mac trusted her. However, again, morality versus morality. So with Mac, he trusted her, but he couldn't just jump on it or jump into it with her because she had a legal responsibility. Was it moral? What Karen was saying? Yes. But could she do anything about it legally at that time? And the answer was no, because they always needed more proof. Like they couldn't just go on Karen's instincts about things. So I think that that's the difference. To whereas Sid doesn't always believe Karen. However, then So I mean, come on. If your woman has a track record like that, come on, guys, listen to them. Follow through. Let them know what's going on. And I think, like I said, this is the beginning of the end of Sid. This is where Sid is starting to have trouble with everything. And then the Abby storyline. I do see Abby's bad side. However, my heart breaks for her as a mother because her kids are being taken from her. And we'll see that in the next episode when she realizes what really happened. Um, I'm just, and so my heart breaks for her. And then one thing that, and I want to see if I can find the clip and maybe I'll play it off of an interview or during the podcast that, the one that's on that podcast where Miss DonnaMills has said, and that's when, okay, most all villains. And while the other characters on the show couldn't see their vulnerable side, we as the viewer to see their vulnerable side. So therefore, I think that the way they portrayed the villains, the villainesses, was well done because they did give some vulnerable side to it. So therefore, Abby can do all of. However, when it comes to being a mother, when it comes to her brother and her children and her cat, she is very vulnerable. Did for Val, and we'll talk about what she did for Val because that is very, because the way that was perceived Abby was that she's a villain, but and Val was a villain, but he did have somewhere deep down, he had like some sort of heart, and he wasn't all villain. So I think that that's what KnotsLanding and that's what that's what David Jacobs did with his shows. And I looked at Dynasty and I'm like, did we really see that with Dynasty and Joan Collins? And I'm trying to think, and I'll have to go back and watch it because I don't think so. I think there's a little bit there, but I think that Joan Collins and Alexis was always a villain. Like she was always there. And by the way, did y'all know? And I'm gonna say this when we get to the page storyline. But did you all know that Nicolette Sheridan played Alexis in the reboot of Dynasty? Yeah. Yes, she did. Yes. Yes, she did. Hold on. I don't know if I got that right. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Who played? Hold on. No, I take that back if I know. Who played Alexis? Oops. And, oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So Nicolette Sheridan played Alexis in season 1 and through the middle of. So I was right. And then Elaine Hendricks took over the role at the start of season 3. So basically, Nicolette Sheridan played Alexis. See, I knew that. She played Alexis. I didn't think, for some reason, it was in my head. She played Alexis in season 1 and part of season 2. And then Yeah, you sure Snowball? Yeah, she's in this kennel. Um, so she played Alexis in season 1 and middle of season 2, and then in season 3, somehow she got a face reconstruction transplant or something, and Elaine Hendricks played Alexis and for the rest of the show's run. Now, Elaine Hendricks, if I'm not mistaken, played, yes, Elaine Hendricks was the evil stepmother on the Parent Trap movie with Lindsay Lohan. Yes, and the New Dynasty. And the New Dynasty, Nicolette Sheridan played Alexis in season 1 and part of season 2. And then Elaine Hendricks took over the role at the beginning of season 3, and she was the soon-to-be stepmother in the Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan. So Elaine Hendricks has always had the aspect of playing a villainess. But she's very sweet in real life, is what I heard. So, that's a little bit of trivia for you. That I knew Nicolette played Alexis. I didn't think I was making it up, but then I had to second guess myself because I'm like, wait a minute, did she? And then after I watched, and then I thought about it, and I'm like, oh wait, did she? And then I realized, oh yeah, she ended up having like a facelift or reconstructive surgery or something happened to where Elaine Hendricks came in as the new Alexis, and then Elaine Hendricks was the soon-to-be stepmom in the Parent Trap, who was supposed to be married to Dennis Quaid and to become Lindsay Lohan's stepmother. So, that's a little bit of trivia. That's a lot of sidebar there. So, anyways, so I say all that to say that, now that I think about it, and even on the new dynasty, I think there was a little bit of a heart to the villain, but I don't think in the old one, I don't think that they gave Alexis a lot of heart, because Alexis was always herself. And JR has a little bit of a heart and a little bit of vulnerability. So I think that's one thing that David Jacobs did very well, was to kind of have his characters multifaceted. And because if you think about it, Karen could be a little bit devious as well, as we will see in the next episode that I'm going to recap here shortly. So Karen can also be devious just as much as Abby can. So that's that. And I'm going to quit from this episode. Co-host in the background, if you have anything to add, please let me know. And I recommend the new Dynasty. As much as I love the old Dynasty, I think that the way that they did the new Dynasty is very interesting and kind of, it wasn't like how they redid Dallas. It wasn't like a continuation. It was basically a whole new Dynasty. And the guy that played Blake Carrington was on Melrose Place. Grant Snow. He played Jake on Melrose Place. So there's a lot of connection there with the new Dynasty. So, and then the girl from Victorious, what's her name? Liz Gillis, Giles or whatever. Elizabeth Giles played Fallon. And then the way that they did Jeff Colby and the Colby family was really interesting in how they played all that out. So yeah, so Dynasty was a lot different than the old one, and it wasn't a continuation. It was more or less they brought the names of some of the characters back, but then they put on a whole new spin to it. So it was almost like a completely different show. And I think it ran for 5 seasons, and it ran through COVID. So that dynasty actually outlasted the Dallas, and I think Drew kind of lost its footing after Barry Hackman passed away. I think that it was just hard to come up with the storyline after that happened. So, anyways, so here are some scenes from the episode design, and this is in accordance with YouTube Series policy. I'm trying to see where it's at. Let's see.
Here's what we do.
I kind of want to see if there's anything. Oh, wait, here we go. I'll do this one first. And again, this is in accordance with YouTube Series policy.
Mouse. Origato Gosaimasu? Thank you, Fred. Oh, I love these Japanese restaurants. They give me the chance to start the meal on the table instead of ending up that way.
Could you give us a few more details of your plan?
Well, it's very simple. Sid and I form a company, patent the engine, and then we're in business.
That's not enough. Do you plan to manufacture the engine?
Well, yeah, we might. We'll look into it. But I think the most profitable thing to do would be to patent the engine, license it. And that way, every car that comes off the assembly line with the Sid Farragut engine in it pays us big, fat royalty.
Really? What kind of royalty?
Oh, with me negotiating, it'll be a big, fat royalty, I guarantee you.
I know.
Well, it sounds very interesting, JR. Problem is the engine isn't ready yet.
Well, now, Sid, you told me it gets 90 miles to the gallon. Is that right? Do you have any idea of the market for an engine like that?
It has the potential to get 100. Besides, it's too dirty. It'll never pass the future emission standards.
Well, so what?
You can't sell an engine if it doesn't pass the emission.
So right there, JR doesn't care about the fact that it won't pass the inspection. He just wants the patent so that he can make a bunch of money off of Sid. And I think that if Sid did go along with the deal, that he would end up pushing Sid off to the side after a while. That's just my gut feel. But who knows? I could be wrong. Maybe another fan fiction moment. And again, this is in accordance with YouTube Series policy.
Standards?
We'll get around that.
I don't want to get around it. The point was not only to make a fuel-efficient engine, the point was to make a clean one. I want to help solve the pollution problem, not just make it worse.
You know, they call him Saint Sid, don't you?
Yeah. So here's what we do. We form a company. We patent what we got. I bankroll you, and you can work on that engine to your heart's content.
If all we have to do is patent the engine, what do we need you for?
Well, look at him. Clearly, he's no industrialist, right? No. You can play with your engine, and I'll make the deal.
So Karen's like, well, what do we need you for? Come on. Why can't Sid just continue what he's doing right now? JR just wants some money. And that's all he cares about. Again, this is in accordance with YouTube Series policy.
What kind of deals?
I don't know. Leave it to me. I'm pretty good at that.
Very interesting offer, JR, but I've been working on my own for quite a long time now, not having to answer to anybody. Soon continue that way.
Well, Sid, I admire your spirit, but frankly, I think you're crazy. You're passing up millions of dollars.
Tell me, JR, why is a big oil man like you so interested in a car that saves gas?
Well, Karen, money is money. I don't care whether it comes from burning oil or saving it.
JR, listen,
Alright, so that's that scene. So JR just wants to get in on Sid. Well, hold on a second. I'm going to actually, hold on. Let me do something.
Continue that way.
Close this out. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Okay. Alright, so let me go back. Okay. Alright, so now let's see.
Sorry.
Anything I was know nothing about. I think JR. I think like.
Alright, here we go. And again, this is in quantity to 30,000.
Action against two.
When a workspace comes together, you can just feel it.
Sorry, commercials. I got 3 commercials coming in. I'm just waiting for the commercials to end. We're almost there. Okay.
That's because it was JR. Look, a Pat's not a bad.
Alright, and again, this is in quantity.
Just this morning. You're what?
That's because it was JR. Look, a Pat's not a bad. Maybe it will be someday. No, Sid, right now. And a patent will protect the time and money you've got invested. Now, what's wrong with that? Gary, I appreciate your concern, but engine's just not ready yet. Sid, there are 1,000 people working on engines. What if one of them's ready before you are? Then he deserves all the credit he gets. All the money in the world. That's great. I'm not in this just for the money.
So Sid is very down to earth. He doesn't want the money. He doesn't care about it. He just wants to solve the pollution problem. Mainly in California, because that's where this is set in. But he just wants to, give the people a better engine in order to save money. Which I kind of find it ironic. Isn't that what we're doing with Teslas right now? Interesting. And again, this is going to YouTube for your policy.
This is a labor of love. It's an experiment. It's a very exciting thing. If I make a buck off of it, that's terrific. If I make a lot of bucks, that's even better. The main thing is, I want to make a really good engine. I want to make a clean engine. And that just takes time. Key, you're the boss. Thanks for calling. Karen.
Sid, he's got a point. I think you should protect yourself.
You know what I think?
What?
I think by anticipating problems like this, you just bring them on yourself. I don't like to think of those things.
But you have to. Sid, look, I know you don't believe me, but I looked all over your office for those plans. They were not
They
there.
were
I looked
right
on the
there,
shelf.
just
Well,
where
then
I
I'm blind
said
in
they
the back.
were.
So Karen's not there. However, Sid is trying to tell Karen that they were there. And I think that he's just trying to make her feel a little bit crazy because of the fact that the plans just randomly showed back up. But then we all know that Abby had them and she bought them to him. And again, this is in quantity to 30,000.
I'm blind as a bat, or something very strange is happening right under your nose.
Here we go again.
Yes, here we go again. Look, Sid. Abby was stepping out of JR's limousine. She was carrying one of those mailing tubes, the kind you stick documents in, blueprints. Why?
And you think Abby was involved in
Blueprints!
I'm just facing facts. JR wants those plans, and Abby is around my shop all the time, around those plans. plans mysteriously disappear for an afternoon. She comes back from plans mysteriously reappear.
Sounds like a bad detective novel.
Well, maybe it does. Maybe I'm crazy, totally bonkers. But in a situation like this, I'd rather be crazy than dumb.
Again, it's different said and Karen than it is between Mac and Karen. Because Mac would have believed her. As if would be the legality of it all. But Sid doesn't believe Karen. And we'll see that coming up in the next scene. And again, this is in quantity to service policy. Sid comes in
Where'd
kind
you
of
go?
angry.
See, Abby? Oh, want to know what happened?
I bet I don't have. Where'd you go?
See, Abby? Oh, want to know what happened?
I bet I don't have a choice.
That's right, you don't. I asked her point blank if she talked to JR about the engine.
And I bet she said no.
That's right, and I believe her. I felt so embarrassed. My own sister.
Sid,
Look, you know that mail tube you're so concerned about? You know what it turned out to be? It turned out to be a print. A present she was giving me from my own office. You're making a mountain out of this thing. It's not even a molehill.
Sid,
I don't want to talk about it anymore. The case is closed.
So Karen is upset that Sid doesn't see it her way, and she's just concerned about it. Okay. And now we are at the last scene. And again, this is in quantity to series policy. Hold on.
Come on, get on board. Let's go. Come on, pal. Tell us slowly. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Back to me. Hi, pal. Thanks for being the kids.
Well, that's no problem, Jeff. You know that.
Yeah.
Wow. Looks like this expedition's finally on its way.
where are you going, Jeff? Alaska?
Just the weekend camping.
Yeah, but I guess you got here kind of early. You have any things about the...
Hey, pal, thanks for all your help.
You bet. Yeah, where are you going?
I'll call her when we get there.
Where?
There, where do you think?
Bye-bye, kids. Have a good time.
You had enough clothes in there to last a year.
That's just exactly what I was thinking.
Val and Karen are on the prowl, so here we go. And again, this is in quantity to series policy.
What is...
Oh my God. I think he's kidnapped them. I'm sure of it.
What are we going to do?
I'm calling the shop. Marsha? Could you get me Abby, please? Well, where'd she go? Look, Marsha, as soon as she gets back, you have her call me or Val at home, okay? It's very important. Thank you.
Now what?
Calling the police.
Yeah, but Karen, we don't know anything for sure.
We know when... Hello? Yes, I'd like to report a kidnapping. It just happened. 2 children. They just left with their father. Their father. What? Oh, no. You don't understand. It's my sister-in-law's ex-husband. She has custody and he just has visitation. Well, he was supposed to have him this weekend, but I don't think they're being kidnapped. I know it. Because when my neighbor and I came in the...
Again, this is Karen instincts acting, and she knows that there's something wrong. Her and Val both know that there's something wrong, and so therefore they're trying to get help. And again, this is in accordance due to fair use policy.
House. It was a mess. It was a mess. Can't you hear me?
Well, Tim, there's clothing all over
There's
the
clothing
floor.
all over the floor. Well, it makes perfect sense to me. Well, no, not that it was a mess. It's the reason it's a mess.
Look, he cleared out all the
He
closet.
cleared out all the closet, took all their things. No, I don't know where the mother is. That's why we can't wait. That's not even funny.
What did he say?
He sent a patrol car to investigate a messy house, even in KnotsLanding. Look, Karen, we gotta find Abby. Look, you just stay by the phone in case she calls. I'll find Abby.
Yeah, but do you even know where she is?
I've got a hunch.
So that was a cute scene, and like I said, my heart goes out to Abby in this moment. So here we are. I'm gonna skip the scene with Sarah and Abby, but here we go. This is the last scene I'm gonna play from this episode, and again, this is in accordance due to fair use policy.
Call for Mr. Burkett. Mr. Burkett.
Excuse me?
Yes.
What room is Mr. Ewing in, please?
I'm afraid we're not authorized to give out that information.
Oh, you don't understand. This is very important. My sister-in-law is in Mr. Ewing's room, and it's just urgent that I speak to her.
Is he, are they expecting you?
No, not exactly.
Perhaps a phone call.
The house phone.
Mhm.
Okay, well, thanks so much for your time.
What is it with Karen and having trouble in hotels? Just my thoughts. Like, she can't get to anyone that she's looking for. Like, we'll see it with Dr. Ackerman as well. Interesting, don't you think? And again, this is in accordance due to fair use policy.
Hello, operator. I'd like Mr. Ewing's room, please. What? You have to disturb him. This is an emergency. No, I'm not a relative, but... For God's sake. Excuse me, I need some help. It's, rather...
I'm the house expert on delicate matters, lady. Shoot.
Well, it's really very simple. It's very important for me to see somebody who's staying at the hotel. And, well, I don't have his room number.
Well, that's a problem. House rules.
House? Yes, I, understand, but I thought maybe you could direct me to Mr. Ewing's room.
Penthouse suite 11300. Relax, lady. You'll make it back upstairs. He's a great tipper.
Don't you dare.
I like that. Don't you dare. Again, this is in accordance due to fair use policy.
That what we just invented. I'd really be in business. Who the hell's that? I left instructions. I didn't want to be disturbed by anything.
JR, it's Karen Fairgate.
Karen? What does she want? I don't know. Maybe I'll take a look.
No, won't answer it. JR, I'm looking for Abby.
Better find out what this is about. Mrs. Fairgate, what a surprise, and I do mean surprise.
I'm looking for Abby.
So you just came running up to my suite? Well, I think that's a compliment, but make yourself at home. Come on in.
It's an emergency, JR.
Really, an emergency?
Yes, her ex-husband just picked up the kids for the weekend, and I think he's planning on kidnapping them.
Well, now, kidnapping is a very serious accusation, my dear.
Yes, it is. That's why I was looking for Abby. Is she here? Karen, what the hell are you doing here? Abby, Jeff's just picked up the kids for the weekend, and I'm afraid...
that, Karen. Taking them for a few days is
He's
hardly
not taking them
kidnapping.
for a few days.
Oh, no.
He's got a year's worth of the kid stuff packed into the back of the van, and I don't think he's coming back.
Well, I think I've worked up a little thirst. Anybody else want a drink?
Yeah, I'd like a scotch. Thank you very much, JR. Look, Karen, relax, please. He's done this before, pretended to take the children.
Abby.
It's just some kind of sick game that he played.
Abby, damn it. He's ransacked your house. He's loaded up the car with the kids, and he's not coming back. And you're not going to just stand there and pretend it's not happening.
Well, what am I going to do, Karen?
You're going to get your things, and you're going to find out where Jeff is. Phone his place, check to see if he's at work, phone the police, and,
Oh, come
and tell
on,
them
Karen, this is ridiculous. You're overreacting to this
I
whole
am.
thing.
I will apologize later, but right now I'm not leaving without you.
They're not your children,
Sometimes
Karen.
I wish they were, Abby.
They're mine.
Ladies, please. Now, I think it's getting a little out of hand.
JR, will you please shut up?
That's the Karen moment that I was talking about when she did that to Eric. She did it to JR just now. That's classic Karen. And again, this is in quantity. So she put him in his place. I don't know if anyone else has ever put JR in his place like that before. Huh. And again, this is in quantity to serious policy.
You're unbelievable, Karen. Really unbelievable. I'll be back a little later, okay, JR?
I'm looking forward to it. I truly am. Well, you sure know how to clean out a room. I'll say that for you, Karen.
What is it, JR? Why here at KnotsLanding? Why her? What's going on?
Oh, a little business, a little pleasure. I didn't have much luck with your husband, but I seem to be making out much better with your sister-in-law.
I can imagine.
I bet you can.
I think JR is finally met his match. That's just my opinion. So, that's episode 17. Now we are on the last episode of season 2. So let's just jump into it. This is episode 18, Squeeze Play. Now this is a very interesting episode, and again, all these episodes are starting to thread in together, so we'll just go ahead and get started. Next, we see that Gary and the boys who have finally learned their names, Frank and Roy, are out to lunch, and Gary is telling them about how the FBI is questioning him about the auto parts, and so Gary is meeting with them, while Karen, Laura, and Val are out to lunch at the same place. They get up, Val's a little bit tipsy because of the white wine, and they see Gary and walk up to see him, and he introduces them to everyone, to all the ladies, and Karen says that Laura took us out to lunch to celebrate her expense account. Gary introduces him. Val doesn't know about what is going on with Frank and Roy. And then next we see that Abby is at the fairgate. The kids are not back, and it's been 4 days. And then we see that Karen goes up to bed. It encourages Abby to get it off, and Karen fills in for Abby. And this is when, so Frank and Roy's situation kind of started off, and then Karen sees Gary talking to someone and goes up to him, and it is the FBI. Karen asks about the combination in the books to because she needs some information from them. And she walks away. She's suspicious of it all. And then Karen tells Sid about it as they are walking out to leave. A mechanic makes a phone call to someone. Abby goes to see Jeff's mother to ask if she has seen them. Abby tells her that she will find them no matter what. And then she asks Sid why he does, or Karen asks her why he doesn't look at his books. And Sid tells him to work for me. And then they see a car that Karen thinks is the FBI. However, I think it's Franklin Roy, and then the car is gone. Abby still can't find the kids. Sid is trying to encourage her about it. Gary tells Abby that Karen wanted to look at the books. However, Abby tells him that Karen doesn't know what to look for. Dun dun dun. Next we see Laura and Richard are practicing self-defense when Karen goes to talk to Richard. Next we see that they go to the dealership to look at the books. They are finding different amounts in Sid's favor. Sid finds out that Richard and Karen are at the dealership and that they're going through the books. Val asks Gary what is going on. Gary tries to tell Val that it's nothing really. And then he gets a phone call from Sid and tells Gary to meet him at his house in 20 minutes. Karen calls out Sid about what happened with the books in the auto park. Abby covers for Gary, but then she says that she didn't know about it. And everyone is involved right now. Sid wants to go to the FBI. Gary and Val leave. Richard leaves, and Abby lies again about it all. Karen is mad about it. Sid is hurt. Val leaves, and it's the next morning, and Val leaves for school. However, she's still not talking to Gary. She tells Gary that she doesn't know how she feels and that she's numb, so she doesn't know what to say, so she's not talking to him. Karen wakes up and sees Sid. She goes over, gives him a hug, and comforts him. Sid and Gary are talking about Franklin Roy and what they're going to do with the FBI at the humans. Sid and Gary are meeting with Franklin Roy later to ask about getting a couple of cars for them. And that Sid knew about the deal all along. And then we see that Gary is trying to talk to Val about what happened. Val was angry because Gary didn't tell her about what was really going on. And Val is hurt, but she understands. Abby is watching TV at home, thinking about her kids. Sid, Gary, and the FBI are waiting for Franklin Roy to come up with the cars. They show up with requested cars. Sid gives them the money, and then Gary and Sid leave with the cars to test drive. Then the FBI and police pull up and arrest Franklin Roy. Everyone's just making sure that everything will come after them. And Karen wants Sid out because of what could potentially happen. Michael comes in and asks about the candy bar that was in his lunch. And then Sid pulled up with Sid's car. And then Abby is at home. And there's knocking at the door. She got a package and the police or whoever is stamp all their mail, check all their cards before they leave. And then Abby got a cassette tape. And then the cop puts it in. And then it's actually Jeff telling Abby what's really going on with the kids, and the fact that he's going to keep them. The cop doesn't know what to do. Abby's breaking down. The cop calls another cop in. Then next we see Sid gets a phone call from Karen, tells him that, the doctor gave her a sedative, so she's pretty knocked out. And then the next thing that we see is the mechanic is cutting the brakes line on the car that said, "We'll be driving home," with a cop riding along with him. Sid goes home, and then Gary lies to Sid about Abby being involved because of the current situation with Abby. Next is, okay, so this is the end of season 2. Sid is driving another car with his cop friend. The brakes are cut. Sid tries to turn the car around to get it to stop. However, it goes off the cliff, and hence a cliffhanger. So that really was a cliffhanger. So again, I really condensed these episodes. So we don't really see Richard and Laura. We don't see Kenny and Ginger at all. We do see Val and Gary are still trying to work on their marriage, and Val is just like, we need to work on our marriage. We have to tell each other what's going on, because she's like, well, what kind of a marriage do we have? And Gary, and then Richard for kids and trying to figure out where they are. And so we're sitting Karen just really not alone together, but they're not together, so it's really hard to judge it. I know that Karen is afraid of what could happen. However, they don't really show a lot of that, a lot of Sid and Karen together in this episode, so I can't really judge how they're acting or judge their relationship. I don't think that they really fight in this episode. I think it's more or less trying to make sure that Sid and Gary are safe. So I think that's it. I think that, this was a good way to end the season, and the fact that, there's really not a lot to analyze. So we'll just go ahead and get into this episode clips. So again, this is in quantity, and I'm sure I'll have stuff to say as we listen to the clips. So again, this is in quantity to use policy. Richard and Karen are at the dealership.
Give you the keys.
I didn't.
First regret breaking and entering.
After you.
Do me a favor, huh? Don't tell me how you got the combination. Hello.
So I'm just kind of going to let this whole sequence play out, because it kind of involved all the characters at some point or another. So, except for Kenny and Ginger. So, again, this is in quantity.
Hi, Sid, it's Laura. Did I wake you up?
No, it's okay.
Is Karen there?
Nope. She's gone to an art lecture.
Did she say anything to you about meeting Richard?
I don't think so. Is Richard interested in art?
Not particularly. What's the lecture about?
Erotic Indian sculpture.
Mm-hmm. With slides?
Probably.
You know what he told me? He said he and Karen were going down to KnotsLanding Motors and break into your safe. Peterson, front end alignment.
So that's one thing I have to give Richard credit for, is like, he always has to tell the truth. He has like what I call failed shut up class, like Gossip Rumor, and then doing like Cassie from Gossip Rumor, and then at Gossip Rumor and in the window says he failed shut up class. He just doesn't know when to shut up. So he just told Laura what the plan was, and so Laura calls Sid, and there they are at the dealership going through the books. Hilarious. I guess that's one good thing about this episode, is like, failed shut up class. Use policy.
3246. Plessy, brake pads, tire rotation, new tire, 20990. Neely, transmission overhaul, 165. Am I going too fast? 7272. Sackheim.
This is amazing.
What?
Listen, Peterson, 382.46. Plesky, 229.90. Neely, 192.72.
That's a difference in our favor.
Of $110 on these 3 jobs alone. When did Abby start doing the books?
Christmas time, I think.
January 3rd. Her handwriting's a lot neater than Gary's. She even used a different pen. She's not as smart as I thought.
Oh, how smart can she be when she's entering more money than is actually here?
Well, the money's here, all right. It's just not Sid's.
Whose is it?
I don't know.
I thought they were stealing. This is embezzlement in reverse.
Well, it's either profits from something illegal or...
Wow.
Are you kidding?
I think it could be Gary or Abby.
Help.
Karen,
We thought you were Gary.
were you expecting Gary?
Well, Sid caught them in the act. Not that act. Reviewing the books act. And again, this is in accordance with the 2230 policy.
Well, no, actually, we weren't expecting anybody.
So what the hell are you doing here?
So again, this is kind of funny. We go back to the next thing, because we all know that Sid called her into the office. So again, this is in accordance with the 2230 policy.
If there's one thing I don't need. Yeah, hello. Gary, meet me at my house in 20 minutes. What's wrong? Just be there. One thing I don't need right now is questions.
Sid, want me to call Abby?
Yeah.
So we know it's not happening. We can hear it in his voice. Karen called Abby. We are at the next. Alright. And again, this is in accordance with the 2230 policy.
Seem legit even if they did.
We're about to go under when Roy and Frank came. The cab companies seem legit even if they did. So, I lied to you and made a deal with them.
Gary, this is all ancient history. Would you please get to the hard part?
Sid, can we discuss this in private?
This isn't a private matter. Everybody here is involved.
Including Richard?
If it wasn't for Richard, we never would have figured out what we were doing. Sit down, Richard.
Gary doesn't want everyone to know where he got the money from, so he wants to talk about it in private. And again, this is in accordance with the 2230 policy.
No. What would Abby have to do with this? What's she getting out of it?
I'll ask her.
Where'd you get the money for the parts?
What do you mean?
Give you...
Oh, I'm sorry. I fell back to sleep. What's up?
He knows. Everybody knows.
Knows what? Oh, come on. What are you talking about?
Gary's been selling stolen parts and hiding the profits in the dealership. Says you help. This is your handwriting, isn't it?
Gary asked me to pad the books, but he never told me where the money was coming from.
Never told you. Never told. She's the one who they are. Gave me the money for the parts. They were going to kill me if I didn't come up with it. Is that true?
Well, Gary told me that he was in trouble because of some bad deal he made on some parts, and they were threatening him. So I knew JR was in town, and I went to him because I knew Gary was too proud. And JR said, sure, he'd give him the money on one condition.
And what was that?
That I help Gary. That
Abby is a lying liar who lies. In some situation, she's a lying liar who lies to try to get a cover up for herself. That's my opinion, but that's just me. And again, this is according to YouTube. Karen has her pact. Karen has her pact. And again, this is according to YouTube series policy.
That I do whatever he wanted with no questions asked. And that's all I did.
Doesn't sound like Jim.
Doesn't sound like Abby.
She's lying. Can't you see that? Why would he drag her into this if she wasn't involved
She just
somehow?
said she wasn't involved. Now, what did she have to gain? She's lying, Sid. Oh, she's
How can you
lying.
be so blind?
She hates me. She'd say anything.
I don't believe it.
Everybody be quiet. Everybody be quiet. Sit down a second and listen to me.
I can't believe that Rich is going to be the voice of reason in all of this. Can you? My goodness. And again, this is in according to YouTube. And thank God for Richard telling the truth, because now it's all out in the open, right? This is in according to YouTube series policy.
Now look. Now it doesn't make any difference who's lying and who's telling the truth. If the FBI is nosing around, Gary and by implication Sid and Abby are incriminated in a very big operation. Now the FBI is particularly benevolent when it comes to organized crime. I therefore suggest that you make some decisions about what you want to do, and you make them right now.
There's only one thing to do. We have to go to the FBI. If you do that, you may be sending me to jail. You know that.
I said we have to go to the FBI. I'm not going to turn you in. You're going to turn yourself in.
We'll probably make a deal. They're not interested in prosecuting you. They want Roy and Frank.
That's what Roy and Frank said.
Hey, Richard?
Yeah.
Could you hang with us for a while? We might need some help. Legal matters.
Well, they'll probably just take a deposition anyway. I'm not really a criminal lawyer.
So what you don't see and what you don't hear is that Val is really upset. Karen is hugging Val just to kind of give her some support and all this, and she's really worried about Val. And she'll say that at the end of the scene. And again, this is in according to YouTube series policy.
Sid. So look, just don't say anything, okay, Gary?
I feel so sorry for Val. Sorry for Gary. Lying to his wife, lying to his friends, but an agonizing burden to bear.
Agonizing.
Lying liar who lies. Even Richard has her packed, thinking that, she has something to do with this, and I have no doubt that Richard knows. And again, this is in according to policy.
Richard, would you mind walking me home? I'm nervous about going to my house alone.
Abby. Gary was lying, wasn't he? I mean, you didn't know what was going on, did you?
Oh, Sid. If I did, I would have told you. I'm really sorry about all this. I know how much you trusted Gary, and I know you, and I know how painful it is.
Karen gives him a look like, I can't believe it now. I want to play this scene because this kind of shows how Val was feeling in the moment. And again, this is in quantity to series policy.
You still numb?
What?
You said when you stop feeling numb, you'd know what to say. It's been 2 days and you haven't said a word. You still don't know how you feel?
I'm so angry, I can barely bring myself to look at you.
Oh, gee, you could have fooled me. Why?
Why?
Yeah, why are you so angry? I mean, I know what I've done, but what have I done to you?
What have you done? Sid and Karen are our best friends. Now, we came here with nothing, and they helped us. Sid gave you a job.
Forget about Sid. If it were just Sid, you wouldn't be so angry. It's JR, isn't it?
Oh, this doesn't have a thing to do with JR. You didn't come to me, Gary. Now, how could you?
Just save my. Your neck. But these guys don't fool around. They give me 1 day to raise 24 hours. JR.
You're not listening to me. Why didn't you tell him?
Because I know I
Is that how you think of me then? As your conscience?
I got myself into.
Okay, sorry, my computer froze on me, so here I go again.
I've shared enough troubles with you to recognize
This is in accordance with YouTube store use policy.
marriages. I just wanted to handle this one on my own. Is that so terrible?
No, it's not. What?
Hello, 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 hello. Oops, hello, hello. Let me see. Microphone on. I'm just doing mic check, 1, 2, 3, mic check. Okay, hello. Hold on. I'm just gonna go. Hold on 1 second. Bear with me. Bear with me. Bear with me. Bear with me. Hold on. Hello. I'm just doing mic check, 1, 2, 3. Okay, good. Okay, alright. Sorry, I just had to make sure because it kind of almost muted me off. So, and again, this is in accordance with YouTube Stories policy.
It's terrible. It's where we are right now. So far apart, you're gonna walk out that door this minute and go do who knows what, and I think that's terrible.
I mean, I have to. I have no choice.
I know.
Okay. Yeah, my bubble's not popping, so I don't know if I'm talking or not. So, okay, that's the last thing I'm gonna play. Oh, hold on. Pause. Pause. I'll be back. I have to take care of you. Alright, sorry about that. I had to do a little bit of a intermission there. But we're almost done. So, I just want to say again, thank you for sticking with me. This episode was the last episode of season 2, and we will jump into season 3 tomorrow or Saturday. We're going to try and do 5 episodes just because, like I said, the first 3 are going to be a little bit more difficult to get through, and then we're just going to hopefully breeze through season 3 just to get through it. And again, I guess with this episode and the quicksand play, it just kind of ties everyone and everything together. Again, we see the whole auto parts, stolen auto parts almost ending. That's going to be ended in the next episode, couple of episodes. And we see Val and Gary start to try to work a little bit more in their relationship. They just need to get to a point to where they can trust each other. However, it's almost like they take one step forward and 2 steps back. So there's that. And then again, we don't see Richard and Laura other than when Richard is trying to teach her and Jason how to defend themselves. And then Ginger, I don't think Ginger and Penny was in this episode. And again, my heart breaks for Abby and her children. However, she is a lying liar who lies, and we'll see that throughout the season. And again, like I said, Abby has good qualities that we as the viewers see, but the characters on the show themselves don't see. Like Karen doesn't. Well, I think Karen does see Abby in a different way. However, she can't look past some of the things that Abby's done. So I think as a mother to mother, she cares about her, but I think that because she's a lying liar who lies and she's starting to show her true colors, I think she's just she's being pulled in both directions. Like, she's just, wants to be there for Abby as she can be. However, hold on one second, I want to say something. However, she, hold on one second. I just said something. Okay. To where, if she does something bad, then it's hard for her to look past the bad part, but then she does care for her as a mother to mother. So I think there's that aspect. And then, again, we really didn't see a lot with Karen instead. We'll see that happening in the next couple of episodes. Again, those are going to be hard. And then we'll see how Gary and Val goes moving forward. So I think that this season kind of had a lot of ups and downs. They had a lot of one-off episodes to where it didn't really thread together very well. And then these last 2 episodes did thread. And then we'll see the episodes threading, throughout season 3 and then on into season 4. So, with that being said, co-host in the background, am I right or am I wrong? I would love to know. I think that this show is very timely and it resonates with us in a very real way. Hold on. I'm just trying something. And you guys are I'm just gonna be playing with this for a little bit. Hold on, I just kinda wanna see. Hold on. Okay. I guess I can upload music. I didn't know that. So this is a different streaming service, so thank you for bearing with me, because like I said, Yardstream or StreamYard. Why did I say Yardstream? StreamYard, I used all my hours with that, so therefore I had to go into Restream. So we're gonna do that. And then let's see. Um, so with that being said, we are. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me take a look at the themes. That's what happens when I do wrong. Uh-huh. So I'm playing around with this, so just give me a second. Okay. Uh-huh. I like that. So let me take a look at that. Okay. Huh. That didn't change anything. Okay. I was just playing around with it just to see what we got. So anyway, so that's that. And then so in the description box below, there's gonna be the We're Not Done Yet podcast, the CG Circle channel, and the No Escape from the Cul-de-Sac, which is a new podcast that I found. And the Facebook group, I'm gonna link, and they're gonna link me. They only have 18 subscribers, so please go ahead over there and subscribe to them. Show them love and kindness. And then also, I would love for you guys to do the YouTube things, like, subscribe, share, comment in the comment section down below. I would love to see if you guys like the 5 episodes, because if you want me to condense it more, I can. But like I said, I just want to get through season 3, and then so we'll do 5, because that'll give me, well, I think there's 22 episodes, so 5, 10, 15, 20, and then there'll be 2 extra, so it'll take me about a week to get through season 3, and then we can jump right into season 4. And then, like I said, with season 4, we'll just play the episode. I'll stop it every few minutes. We'll talk about it, and then we'll go from there. So, unless there's things that I can't have on the episode, because I do know that there are some things that happen that I don't necessarily want to put on my YouTube channel, I'll go through and skip over those scenes. So I kind of review the episodes beforehand just to figure out what scenes are okay to play and what scenes are not okay to play. And then we'll just go from there. So, anything else to add, co-host in the background? Am I right or am I right? Am I wrong? Am I wrong? I don't want to end it unless you have something else to say. And then thank you for bearing with my snowball. You had to have some kennel time. It was time to escape. So there's that. Let's see. And what else to so I'll just give it a few more minutes. Music chat. I'm just looking at my options here. What I'm waiting for. Oh, hold on. Let me take a look and see what's down and what's down. Hold on. Oh, no. I'm just kind of playing with it just to see what I want to do. Image. Just bear with me. I think I got. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, I see what I did. Okay. Alright, so I was just playing around with it just to see what we were doing. Alright, then I guess I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. So don't forget to do the YouTube things, like, share, subscribe, comment, and check out the different links down in the description box below. And I would love to hear from you guys. Thank you and have a great night. Bye.